Koreans love this ramen, and you've probably never heard of it. And if you have, props to you. I've never heard of it until last week, and I've been living in Seoul since 2014, I believe. Yeah, it's been a minute. This is called Omorei kimchi jjigae ramen. Basically, Omorei kimchi stew ramen, and it's amazingly popular. How do I know this? Well, I got some inside intel, and also big news in the ramen world, instant ramen world that is. Recently, I think a couple weeks ago, it hit 100 million units sold in South Korea, which, you know, you might not think is that big of a deal, but actually it's like double the Korean population. And this is only sold at one convenience store, not one specific convenience store, but one chain of convenience stores. So in Korea, there are 3 convenience stores that you'd see everywhere. You know, if you go out on a walk, you'll see them everywhere. It's kind of like Japan or other countries. Basically, we have GS25, we have CU, and then 7-Eleven. GS25 and CU are Korean brands, and they're probably by far the most popular ones. And this is only sold at GS25 locations. And that's pretty crazy. And actually, in 2015, this outsold all other ramen. This was the #1 selling ramen in South Korea, outselling even Shin Ramyeon itself. Now, you probably can find this online somewhere, but the prices are going to be hiked, and you know you can't get it instantly. Just like you can't walk to the convenience store and pick it up. So yeah, that's basically why you got to go to the GS25. I have no affiliation with GS25 or this ramen. I think it is actually on Amazon, but for, like I said, a much higher price. I paid $1.35 for this one. So like I was saying, it's called kimchi jjigae ramen. And if you're wondering about what that means, if you don't know what kimchi jjigae or kimchi stew is, it's basically like I would describe it as like a homemade chicken noodle soup. For if you don't know, you know, it's like everyone's kind of got their own recipe. You got that mom's touch on it, and it's a soup, but a lot of different flavors. Man, it's very sour. It's nice. You can eat it. Koreans eat it at all times of the day, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. So there's nothing really exact that I can compare kimchi jjigae to or kimchi stew. But I've never had a ramen that is supposed to taste like kimchi jjigae. So I am pretty excited to try this. One thing about kimchi jjigae is you use very fermented sour kimchi. And apparently inside of this, there's a packet of real kimchi that has been fermenting for over 3 years, supposedly. Also, just a couple more things. It is more popular in the cup version. So if you can get your hands on this, you could probably get it at like an H Mart maybe. Then that's the way to go. And it's also supposedly better to cook it in the microwave instead of pouring boiling water in it and covering the cover and letting it sit. So I'm going to try the microwave version, which I've never microwaved cup noodles or anything like that in a microwave before. So, well, besides the instant ramen cooker, but I've never done it in the cup. So I'll be interested to try it out. That was a lot of info there for you, but a lot of info for me too, since I've never heard of this. Never tried it, obviously. I will open this now and show you what's inside. And we have 2 packets. One, this is just the powder ramen flavoring packet right here. This lighting might get a little bit crazy. I apologize if it does. And this is our packet of real 3-year-old fermented kimchi, which I'm the most curious about. Let's open this first, actually. Quite a big packet, bigger than I was expecting. I'm not a huge fan of super overly fermented kimchi, but it doesn't smell too bad at all. It smells pretty nice. I'm just going to pour it in here so you can see. That's pretty much all of it. Yeah, that's unique to me. But it's a good concept because I feel like, you know, this will last in this bag forever. It'll just keep fermenting, right? Not a kimchi expert here, but now let's go in with the powder packet. Pretty standard. So I have no idea what this is supposed to taste like, but apparently, you know, it is supposed to be kind of a replication of kimchi jjigae, kimchi stew. maybe a fusion of like kimchi stew ramen. So I'm gonna pour some water in here as well, up to the line. Microwave this for 3 minutes, and I'll be back. Oh, would you look at that? Check that out. I gotta give it a mix, obviously, but this is looking very good, actually. Let's see if the noodles are cooked. They appear to be. Maybe a little bit al dente. I'm not sure if you're supposed to stir them halfway through or anything, but wow, I'm getting a lot of whiffs of the kimchi in there. This actually, it smells like exactly like a mix of ramen and kimchi stew, but I have no idea what it's gonna taste like though. So let's find out. It's gonna be piping hot, and I think I'm just gonna eat out of this since you probably got a decent view out of that. I mean, cup ramen is all about eating out of the cup. And I'm wearing the worst shirt possible for this video, but going in. Wow. Another bite. But right off the bat, very unique. I'm liking it. I'm liking it a lot, actually. This is some good stuff. I'll be honest with you. It tastes more like just a regular Korean ramen, and then you add some kimchi to it. I mean, that's kind of what you might expect. But I was expecting the powder to have some more deep flavors, different than just regular ramen flavors. More kind of kimchi stew type flavors, I guess, if that ever makes any sense. If you have never had kimchi stew before, well, you might have to try it out, or else this might not make too much sense at all. But it does resemble that. It is a fusion. It is a hybrid, but it's leaning more toward the ramen side for me so far. But you all know you got to take a sip of the broth to really find out. I'm really liking the crunch of the kimchi when you get it. It's kind of floating around in there or sinking to the bottom, it seems like. But even with the sip, it does have more of that ramen flavor with just a tad of that fermented kimchi flavor that you will find in kimchi stew, overwhelmingly. First couple bites, I would say if you do get your hands on this, I have a 700 watt microwave. They recommend 3 minutes on a 700 watt. So I would have said 3 minutes and 30 seconds personally. If you have 1,000 watts, 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'd bump it up by... Actually, what I would do is I would follow the instructions, mix it, let it sit for 30 more seconds before you just dive right into it like I did. The flavors are starting to mingle a little bit more as I eat it. A lot more, actually. Starting to get some good kimchi flavor. Again, unsullied, but it is what it is. No affiliations whatsoever. Yeah, now this is some good ramen. I love the fact that there's some actual fresh ingredients in there, like kimchi. Well, it's hard to call kimchi fresh, I guess, but you know, it's real food. You could just eat that kimchi, you know. Whereas a lot of the Korean ramens that you get, there's dehydrated flakes, there's a bunch of dehydrated schniz in there, so I like the fact that there's some real food. You can definitely get some good. I'm going through this, killing it actually. Got some good kind of that sour fermented flavor in there. I just realized I forgot my watch, like a noob. This is definitely taking on a whole new profile the more you eat it. Before I was going to say like 90-10 ramen to kimchi stew, and now it's almost hitting me at like a 50-50. Of course, real kimchi stew, you might find all types of stuff in there. You might find meat in there. You'll probably find some tofu in there. Maybe some other stuff in there as well. So you're not getting the full experience, but that's why it's a $1.35 instant ramen cup. It's a hard P there. And yeah, it does seem like all the kimchi settles to the bottom a little bit. So it's kind of mingling and lingering down at the bottom there, which is probably why it's giving more of that fermented kimchi flavor. I like this quite a bit. It's a very different take on your average Korean ramen, because those can be, to me, a little bit one note, just kind of salty and spicy, good flavor. But this one has that extra element of sourness to it, which I am a fan of. Like I think I keep on saying that. Here's one thing though. Rarely do I ever care enough to drink all of the broth in cup ramen like this. But for this one I had to, and if you have some rice, that's one thing that whenever I get kimchi stew at a restaurant, I always get some white rice to kind of eat together. If I had that, I think it would have been a good addition to get some more starchy carbs in the body, soak up all that extra delicious broth, and yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Better than I expected, to be honest, and I can see why Koreans love it. You know, living at home for the first time, it's becoming more popular to live alone. You know, it always was a thing that you'd live with your parents until you get married, but it's kind of changing a little bit over here now. A lot of people moving out earlier, and if they miss that mom's cooking, then maybe this could be a little bit of a reminder for them or something. On the cheap, and it's on the cheap. Here's the thing. Is it a buy or is it a try? Definitely a try. But not a buy unless you live in a place where you can find it for an affordable price. I think it's well worth $1.35. I think I've seen it on other places for like $4 or $5 per pop. I don't know if it's worth a buy, but if you can find it on the cheap, it's worth a try for sure. If you live in Korea or H Mart might have it for cheaper prices, I'm not sure. But yeah, that's my final verdict. Anyway, that's about it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'm seeing out here. Catch you in the next one. Peace.